So we're here today to talk about hospital billing contracts. Tell us a little bit about what is that functionality and what is the problem that that functionality is trying to solve for a healthcare organization?
So when we submit a claim to insurance, they are expected to divide the billed amount into three pieces. There's patient responsibility, the payment, and the not allowed amount, which is supposed to be written off. So the problem is the dividing line between those last two of the payment and the not allowed amount. So they are incentivized to ask us to write off more. And when that happens, we want to catch that and say, we're not supposed to write off that much, and you should be paying more of that and asking us to write off less of it.
So in a scenario where you have every healthcare organization has a number of contracts with specific payers. If you don't build that allowed amount functionality within Epic, how is it that you're capturing that information?
You could painstakingly go through all of the remits and see what was paid and have somebody look up the contract terms and how much would that be. And in practice, very few organizations have the resources to do that, even for your high dollar claims. So without this functionality, you're very likely going to see significant underpayments. And in the course of testing the contracts, before they're even installed, your analysts and Nordic consultants are likely to identify single accounts that will justify months, if not years, of what you're paying them.
Wow, that's a really strong case for an important return on investment for these organizations. What preparation does it take for an organization to embark on a project where they would implement this hospital billing contracts?
You have to take your contract and turn it into something a computer can understand. So if the contract says burn, you have to say these ICD-10 codes correspond to burns. If they say right off the room, well, not right off the room charges, that would never happen, but if you're identifying the room charges, you want to know which revenue codes are those. So you need to take every word in your contract to make it very, very specific. So the way I've seen this accomplished is turning it into a gigantic matrix with one column for codes. And that can vary. It can be the revenue codes, diagnosis codes, you can do combinations, you can do very detailed identification of what contract lines apply to which claim lines. And another column would be the reimbursement calculation. And again, the contracts are very flexible. If you say 80% of the entire claim and stop pricing everything, Epic can accommodate that. If you say a fixed rate for an implant, we can accommodate that. It's very, very flexible, but basically you have your identification and your reimbursement.
Got it. And how does the healthcare organization's IT team and potentially some consultants, how would we help with that process? At what point do we become involved, or what does the healthcare organization need to do ahead of our involvement in order to make one of these successful?
The translation of the contract into this spreadsheet or the specific terms would be one. Prioritization of which contracts to tackle first would be another. Let's see, and just opening up good lines of communication. We have a standing weekly meeting and a SharePoint, so everything is documented. If we are importing, say, a fee schedule, that gets stored on the SharePoint, and basically, not getting into technical debt where years down the line, someone says this contract seems out of date and they can't figure out why it's built the way it is.
Jim, summarize for us the value of implementing hospital billing contracts for an organization.
Well, the value is twofold. First, you can identify which payers are not paying as expected, and the amount that goes undetected would astonish you if you don't have anything in place. And if you're going to put something in place, I highly recommend Epic's contract modeling as opposed to any sort of third-party solution, because they've been refining it for years and years and years. If you find a couple accounts, a couple big inpatient accounts, you could see a 6 or 7 figure return on investment
Wow.
with one contract if given a payer that's not paying appropriately. But even in a fantasy world where all the payers are paying appropriately, the Epic's contract modeling is another activity that works part and parcel with contract maintenance, allows your operational owners to tweak the terms of the contract and see what that would have done over the claims for the past year for that payer. And that can be used to drive future decisions and negotiations.
Wow, that's really powerful. So with just a little bit of information about your contract and translating that into a technical design, we can potentially come in, a consultant, maybe an FTE at your organization, and save you 6 or 7 figures on maybe 1 or 2 transactions. That's pretty incredible. Well, Jim, thank you so much for your time today and for your insight. And we really appreciate you telling us a little bit more about hospital billing claims.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.